So anyway, hi. Nice to see everyone here. So today we are going to be taking a deep dive into the history of Dmaorg and the real world history that's attached to and what it's based off of. So this was our first introduction to the concept of Dema and the character of Clancy, and really our first real glimpse into the world of Trench.
I cannot see your screen. I don't know if others can, but I cannot.
Oh yeah. We're off to a great start, folks.
It's okay. Oh, there we go. It's loading.
Okay. Wonderful.
Yeah, there we go. Okay. Have fun. Good luck. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Okay. So, anyway, this is our first introduction into the concept of Dema, the world of Clancy, and it's the first time hearing about Trench. So, it was also our first brush with complex internet scavenger hunts, which we will definitely get into at a later point, but not today. So, whoops. If you don't know me, hi, I'm Moosh. I run the subreddit, and I'm also a mod here. I've been a mod here for a few years at this point. I also write articles for the wiki sites, and this is my favorite era ever. So buckle up. That's how I feel right now. That's me. Anyway, so this is going to be a lot of information and exposition very fast. This is a very information-dense time in the story, so we're going to be going over a lot. So we're going to be going up to the events of Jumpsuit, and then we'll resume next week back with Trench. I'll be doing next week as well. So won't overload you too much, hopefully, but there is a lot here. So I'm just warning you now. That's why this guy's here. Just it's going to be a lot. So get a notebook, get a pen, screenshot things that you think might be interesting or things that you have noticed may have some foreshadowing as to what happened later in the story. But yeah, I gotta scroll down my script. Oh yeah, it's also being recorded, so you'll be able to go back and see anything you may have missed. But yeah, it's going to be all over the place. We're going to be jumping from world history to a digital file manipulation and Zoroastrianism, so it'll be a lot. All right, so first things first. I'm going to get a drink of water. Everybody better be hydrated today. Okay, so Dmaorg.info is a domain operated by the Sacred Municipality of Dema. Now, of course, it was also created by Twin Pilots to tease the first. I lost my spot. Yeah, it was created in 2018 to tease the release of the 5th studio album Trench, but they had been gone for a year. We hadn't heard from them. We left off with, Tyler did the blurry paint thing, and then all the blurry face tweets, and then just silence for a whole year. So, while the true function of the website isn't technically fully confirmed yet, there are still speculations as to what it might be. So, some people think it might be Dema's version of a social media page. We don't fully know, but what we do know is that right now it serves as a digital memorial to Clancy's journey in chronological order. It's the best way I can put that. So, like I said, this was our first introduction to the character of Clancy, the concept of Dema, all that kind of fun stuff. So, question of the year: how did we find it? I'm so glad you asked. Well, so April 20th, 2018. The gift used at the top of the original Vessel store page was replaced with one that briefly showed an incomplete link at the end of it. And I don't know if it'll pop up because it's kind of long. Oh, yeah. I put in the full version. Anyway, so at the very end of this GIF, there is a little distorted link that looks like this, and it just kind of pops up in the what's the way to describe it? The VCR glitchy thingies. So it pops up on that, and it's trying to stall so we can get to it because it's a really long GIF, and I thought I'd be talking for longer. All right, we're getting there. And there it is. Okay. Again, very fast. Very fast, very quick. That's kind of the name of the game with this band and everything that they do with Dmaorg and really all of their media stuff is things will pop up immediately, and then it's gone. So, oh, I forgot to get rid of all the animations. So, after inputting the link, we were led to this error page with a dire warning and a violation code attached to the end. Now, a 404 error code means that the link that you typed in didn't lead to a valid send page. So, before I get into like what this says, I do want to do like a little kind of rundown of what error codes are, just because there are times when the site traffic gets a bit too much and people like it throws out an error code because it's pretty much being viewed too much. Oh, jeez. Why is this lagging? Okay, so the internet, at the end of the day, is just a bunch of servers with huge file directories talking to each other. So when you type a link into a Google search bar, it's basically saying like, hey, do you have this like file in this folder, like in like this section, if that makes any sense? Because that's what a website is. A website is just a big server. In this case, it would be Dmaorg. So if it does have it, it sends out like I think it's like a 200 code. You don't see the 200 code. That is just, you know, if it has it, it sends it to the site. If it doesn't have it, it sends out this 404 error code. Now that's basically saying like, hey, whatever you put in isn't right. Like you just had the wrong thing. Now if it's a 500 error code, that basically just means, you know, what this says. Too many people are looking at it. It's overstimulated. She's just a girl. Give her some time. All right. We do have exams. I will say that we do have exams. Not till next week, though. All right. So back to this. So 404 error code. It says, you are in violation. They mustn't know you are here. No one should ever find out about this. You can never tell anyone about this. For the sake of the other survival, you must keep this silent. We must keep silent. No one can know. No one can know. No one can know. And then there is that violation code at the end. And you can probably already notice there are these letters that are uppercased all throughout. And that just says east is up. So by inputting this violation code into the link, don't do that. Why are we doing this? So the violation code was the missing part of a link. So once we put that into the link, we were brought to this wonderful little site here. And this was our first real communication with the band after 9 months. Because the last real communication we had was when Josh had accepted the award at the, I think it was the APMAs, where he was saying that Tyler was severing ties with Dema. So that was the last time we had heard from them. My script disappeared. No. So this is a bit of a hefty lot here we've got. So before we get into it, I want to go over the date format that they use. It's kind of weird. So the first 3 digits are going to be the last 3 digits of the year. So it'll be, so yeah. Last 3 digits of the year, then the month, then the word moon to signify that it's month, and then the day. So 025, 01 moon, 10 would be, oh no, I got that wrong. That was supposed to be 08. So 025, 08 moon, 10 would be August 10th, 2025. So that was my bad. So we get to the map of Dema. So this is quite a design we've got here. So first off, the date here. That is the date of Vessel's release date. So that's already interesting in and of itself. And then the text around it, or it was underneath it, it was captioned Severing Ties, again, Dema. And the caption was, get out, the compass lies, they don't control you. Get out, the compass lies, they don't control you. It just kept repeating. And again, it was east is up, capitalized. And yeah, it's just a very fascinating structure. You can kind of see, do I have it zoomed in on the next one? No. So yeah, you can kind of see it right here. It's sectioned kind of interestingly. So we've got like 6 inner rings and chambers. We've got the outer wall and got all these boxes here labeled an Acropolis. And then we've got the Glorious Vista, which seems to be in the same ring as the Limit. And then we've got all these buildings in here, and then a very eerily similar design in the middle. So we'll get into that in a second. But you may be thinking, hey Moosh, this compass wasn't here on the site in this little scroll through that we had. Where'd you find that? I'm so glad you asked. Well, the compass was initially hidden behind the alpha channel of an image file. So when you're creating an image in a digital workspace like GIMP or Photoshop, that white back layer is called the alpha channel. Now you can, it's a bit harder to access it in Photoshop, at least from my experience. Like you have the option to disable it when you initially create the workspace, but it's a whole other thing. You have to get into the right thing and then you have to make it show you the channel. But anyway, it's part of the normal red, green, blue channels which control how the colors display, and it impacts the transparency. So it basically allows you to make certain parts of the image transparent and so on and so forth. So basically, I dropped my earbud, no. Basically, by putting into this particular file into the GIMP software, which is a free open sourced software, but is very similar to Photoshop. So if you are interested in doing Photoshop or anything, GIMP is a very good software to try out. We were able to find the compass by just hiding the alpha layer. So go on channels, hide the alpha layer, boom, right there. I thought this was a lot more complicated than it actually was, but turns out it wasn't. So now we'll get into the bishops. So the bishops are right here. Let me get my script up. So we've got, from left to right, we've got Andre, Lisden, Keons, Nico. Very strong emphasis on the fact that it's Nico. Riestro, Sakarver, Nils, Vitomo, and Listo. Now, the reason there has to be emphasis on the fact that it was Nico is because back then, when it was initially uploaded, there was a lot of debate about what his name actually was. A lot of people thought that it was Nigo or it was Nige or something. I don't know. It was something weird because it didn't fit in. It didn't fit in with the lyrics of Stressed Out. So each of these bishops, their names originate from one of the songs of Blurryface. So Andre is from Fairy Local and Repeat Yesterday's Dance. Lisden is from Polarize, so All I Feel Is Denial. Keons is from Heavy Dirty Soul, so Choke on Smoke. Nico is really the only one that doesn't fit in, but if he did, it would be When I Got Older from Stressed Out. Then we've got Riestro, which is Doubt, Temperature is Dropping. Sakarver, Tear in My Heart, She's a Carver. Nils, Goner, Beaten Down, I'll Slip Away. Vitomo, Laneboy, Will They Be Alive Tomorrow? And then Listo, Ride, A List of People. And the violation code also corresponds to the songs displayed on the cover of Blurryface. So when the map is turned counterclockwise, so east is up, like they kept saying, it turns into the violation code. So you see Heavy Dirty Soul is on the left, so 1539, it was 1539864 or something. But when you turn the map on its side, Dema turns into Blurryface. Well, that's kind of neat. So, bishops don't exist for no reason, right? They lead a religion. They're people who, bless people. They're leadership figures in a religion. So, what is the religion that the city follows? Vialism. Now, Vialism is a fictional religion said to have been hijacked by the Bishops of Dema, and it's based around the belief that self-sacrifice is the only way to paradise and redemption. Which is, kind of self-explanatory. It's rather dark. I probably should have put a trigger warning in this, actually. This is gonna cover very heavy themes of suicide and death and mental illness and math. So so yeah, if you're sensitive to those kinds of topics, just be prepared, because this is a very dark story, and especially this part of the story and the exposition we have to get into, it is rather dark. So just a bit of a warning there. So each year, there is a ceremonial celebration known as the Annual Assemblage of the Glorified. And at the ceremony, enlightened citizens, or vialists is what is on every document, gather to die, essentially, and become glorified. After this ceremony, they are prepared and transferred past the glorious vista to the necropolis. And only very certain citizens are allowed past this point. We didn't find that out until Clancy tour with all the Bandito letters, because there are certain people that work pretty much within the tunnels that transport the glorious gone, and it's a very big thing we'll get into that at a later point. So then we have this self-image. So it was just titled Self, and the date was July 11th, July 8th, 2011. So that was the date of regional at best. And because like we don't know who this kid is, so we're just gonna assume that it's Clancy, and I think it's also interesting that he's covering his eyes. But the original image is of French mathematician André Weil, and he was a famous French mathematician and the founding father of the Nicolas Bourbaki collective. Now, that's André Weil. We don't know who this kid is. But who is Nicolas Bourbaki? Now, the Bourbaki group is a secretive collective of mathematicians formed in 1934 who felt that the texts and curriculums that they were studying and working off of at the time were outdated. Due to France's involvement in the First World War, an entire generation of scholars and mathematicians were killed. As a result, all of that newer knowledge went with them. University professors had no updated curriculum for their students, and André Weil sought to rectify this, and convened 5 of his friends to create a series of modern math textbooks called The Elements of Mathematics under the pseudonym Nicolas Bourbaki. Now, there's a whole lot about this group of people. They were very interesting. But you may be thinking, Amouche, why are these nerds so important? Well, I'll tell you. The Bourbaki group introduced the empty set symbol, so that's the 0 with the O, or 0 with the 0 with the line, to mathematics to denote the empty set. So they also introduced the use of the dangerous bend symbol, which is used to indicate caution while reading a section of material that may be difficult to understand at first. So those are the clear examples. However, former members were quoted saying that the group itself was rather elitist and felt superior to other scholars, and getting anything done was referred to as a Sisyphusian task. Now, if you don't know who Sisyphus is, he's the dude who pushes a rock up a hill for eternity. As they required unanimous approval for anything to be published, which would often take years at a time, because they had very high standards. But because they met those standards, it just kind of fed into it. And basically, they were toxic but smart, which fed into their toxicity. So it was just kind of a never-ending cycle of, it's basically just, yeah. André Weil believed that new ideas had better chances of being born in confrontation than in an orderly discussion. So much of their meeting time was spent shouting at each other than getting anything done. So, oh yeah, and they called each other bishops. They were a very religious group. Like the religion wasn't their main motive. It wasn't their main thing, but it was very prevalent for a lot of the members. So a few of them were Catholic and they called each other bishops. It's just interesting. Yes, indeed, they did. Okay, so the next picture is the Vultures. So it was titled Death Eaters. It's technically titled unnamed, but it was captioned Death Eaters. And the date was December 29th, 2009. And that was the release of Self-Titled. So basically like the public birth of 21 Pilots. So this image depicts a group of vultures sitting atop a structure called a Tower of Silence, or a dogma. This is an important part of Zoroastrianism and Parsi culture. Much like real life, Dema relies on these vultures. Now, what is a Tower of Silence? This is a Tower of Silence, and as you can see, there is a very interesting very interesting similarities between the design of the Tower of Silence and Dema. And this is an actual real-life Tower of Silence in Iran. I'm not sure if it's still used, because there's been some issues with vultures, and I'll get into that in a second. But yeah, this is what it looks like, and honestly, it like this is Moosh talking. This looks so much like Trench and Nico and the Niners, but we'll get into that. So, Zoroastrianism is the oldest monotheistic religion still practiced today. It originated in Iran in the 7th century, but after facing persecution, Zoroastrians fled to Western India, where they're known today as Parsis. In Zoroastrianism, fire, earth, and water are considered sacred elements. So once the body dies, it becomes a vessel for evil, pretty much, and therefore it must not make contact with the sacred elements. It's very, very important in their religion. Parsis constructed these structures, or dogmas, for the purpose of sky burials. corpse bearers, or kandias, I believe is how they're pronounced, would carry the dead to their final resting slot at the top of the tower, described as an open-air amphitheater. And I'm sure that has no bearing on what Tor has in store for us. And the vultures would feed on the deceased. This way, the body is purified of evil energy and the cycle of life continues. Dema shares a striking resemblance to these towers. Now, Towers of Silence are still used by Parsis today. Oh, don't do that. Okay. Yeah. Stop it. Oh boy. It's trying to play the We Are Banditos audio. Anyway, so the vultures in India are dying off. In 2007, Indian officials discovered that the use of an anti-inflammatory medication commonly used for sick cattle, it was man-made, was causing kidney failure in the vultures. Despite their best efforts, India's vulture population shrunk by 99%. That is an astronomical amount of loss. This puts the tradition and the sacred ceremony in peril. Now, the reason why I bring this up is like both because it's important. I mean, it's, life, but the original image on Dmaorg.info was found in an article from 2015 about the disappearance of the vulture population and how the Parsi community is trying to keep their tradition alive, but they aren't able to, and they have to close a lot of these towers because the vultures are gone. So, Banvihar, I hope I said that right, National Park in Bhopal, India, currently has a conservation program that is successfully, but slowly, repopulating the local vulture population. So if you happen to be watching from that area or just want to learn more, maybe want to donate anything that might help repopulate this area, I have the link right here. I'll post along with any other things that we're going to be posting with this presentation. But yeah, that's important. So the next one is the Failed Perimeter Escape Badge. Now, the date is December 1st, 1988, and that is Tyler Joseph's birthday. I need another drink. So the upper border of the picture shows a stamp with the letters FPE cropped in the upper half. It represents a lyric, The Few, the Proud, the Emotional, from Fairly Local, and it is now turned into an acronym for Failed Perimeter Escape. And this insinuates that the character Tyler portrays tried to escape, but failed. And yeah, and of course now we know FPE is being used for pretty much everything. It's been a very prevalent thing in this narrative. Okay, and now we have the first journal. So we're gonna get a good dramatic reading of that. I can wake my screen back up. Okay, so this is the first time we heard from Clancy. This is the first time we heard about his character, about Dema. This is the first time. So, the perplexities of the Dema horizon didn't occur to me until my 9th year. It was then that I began to contemplate the existential and decide what type of impression I wanted my life to make. Naturally, to fuel my hope, I looked out upon the distance of the land that had cultivated me, only this time with new awareness of the obstruction that my youthful ignorance had allowed me to overlook. Was it there the whole time? How had I not seen something so obvious? I am reminded of the moment daily, as the realization directly collides with a unique hope for my own future. As a child, I looked upon Dema with wonder. Today, I am wrought with frustration as I spend each day squinting for a glimpse at the top of the looming wall that has kept us here. It was upon my 9th year that I learned that Dema wasn't my home. This village, after all this time, was my trap. Before I became realized, I had a deep affection for Dema. There was a wonderful structure to the city that put my cares to rest. Streets and locations were dependable, and the responsibilities of the day seemed to be accomplished with minimal effort. Once a task was taught and understood, we delighted in our ability to complete our obligations timely and felt secure in knowing tomorrow's duties would be accomplished with the same efficiency. We all worked to represent our bishop with honor and knew that each inhabitant of our region had a like-minded dedication to consistency. Keons embodied the spirit of this dedication. Of Dema's 9 bishops, Keons was revered as an unwavering and forthright possessing the ability to achieve focus that was rare for most in our region. We all admired him and felt honored to be inhabitants of his region. While we had heard legend of the ruthlessness of the other bishops, Keon's possessed a stoic demeanor, unlike anyone I had ever met, and we were all proud to serve. And then, you can see at the end there, west wall is blocked, east is up. And this had the date of Josh's birthday, so June 18th, 1988. So the handwriting on the west side is, or on the west side, the handwriting on the right side of the page, oh my earbud, spells west wall blocked, east is up. So much east is up here. The handwriting is different from the one in Clancy's signature, and we are suspecting that it may be Josh's handwriting. I believe. I don't know if that's been debunked yet or not. But the metadata of the file revealed a hidden date, which was Clancy, what was it? June 14th, 2009. So although it's not confirmed, the date is suspected to be the founding of the band, as it seems to be around the time when they purchased the band house, which is where their first album was recorded. I need more water. Everybody take a moment to hydrate real quick. All right. So May 9th, 2018, we're going to have some random transitions in here. So again, that was just one day of updates. So let's see. Yeah, but yeah, I think we got quite a bit of exposition out of the way, so we're rolling. So the next date is July 17th, 2017, which is the first day of the hiatus. So let's read that out. To refer to Dema as my home has never felt accurate. Dema, to me, has simply been the place that I've existed, or the slot they've put me in. I've heard stories about the idea of home, and its depiction has always seemed warm from the storyteller's description. There was a romantic ownership of the place they inhabited that I admired, but could never relate to. This place, my place, however, seems devoid of the romance and wonder that the old stories tell. But somewhere, between the iron order and fallible precision of Dema, a hum of wonder exists. It's this quiet wonder that my mind tends to get lost in. This hope of discovery alone has birthed a new version of myself. A better version, I hope, that will find a way to experience what's beyond these colossal walls. And there are a bunch of letters within the letter that are, a bunch of letters within the journal entry that are omitted, and they spell "you are still sleeping." And then it was radio silence until the end of May. And then the end of May, we had this bad boy show up. So this bad boy is July 16th, 2017. That's that was the day of the APMAs. So yeah, this is our good friend Jason Statham. It's our first look at Jason Statham. And it was titled Blur, or it was 3 blur, but it was weird blurry face type font. But yeah, so it was the eve before 21 Pilots won the award for most dedicated fan base at the Alternative Press Music Awards. Josh showed up to the event by himself to receive the award, justifying Tyler's absence by saying he was severing ties with Dema. This would mark the first time Dema is directly referenced by name. In the full message, you can kind of see there are letters popping up right here. Full message says, "You still don't know his real name, do you?" Along with the letters Nico Nico in the spaces in between words. Basically, this was because there was, at this time in the fandom, there was still a lot of debate about Nico's real name because it didn't fit in, so a lot of people were just really set on him being Nigo and not Nico, and it was a whole thing, but they tend to do, they do this stuff when we're confused and then we get made fun of. So, many people remember Nigo. All right. Oh yeah, and then this clip is from the movie Duma. So I've never seen Duma, but apparently it came out in 2005. I was 2, so I do not remember that movie. So June 29th, 2018. June was a very quiet month. So we had the first introduction to the Banditos. Now, July 17th, the date is the actual day of the 2017 APMAs, and the picture, this one that was uploaded, is captioned "Not My Only Friend." And the file name translates to trench. And if you obviously if you put it into the English alphabet, and if you replace the violation code, this bad boy, in the URL, you can access a new subdomain, which is crazy. So another interesting thing about this is that the Banditos on top of the cliff were perched exactly how the vultures were. So don't play yet. Don't play yet. Don't do that. Oh boy. That would have been very loud. So by replacing the violation code with the numbers in the file name, we found a new subpage. And I'm going to take a little bit of credit for this because I was the first one on the Discord who actually found this, and I'm still so proud of it. It was a big moment for me. Anyway, so by replacing the violation code, we found a new subpage containing the first audio clip we had heard from the band in over a year. It was "We Are Banditos" reversed, and I'll play it right now because it was freaky. And that's freaky. Oh my gosh, it's so crazy. Like, this came out 7 years ago, and like I still get full body chills every single time I hear it. It's so cool. So obviously that was reversed. So if we reverse it and play it the right way, and it says "We Are Banditos," and that was the first time we heard the phrase "We Are Banditos." And obviously this is from the end of Nico and the Niners, so that's always fun. Don't play again, please. Okay, so the next day, July 1st, it was yeah. So this was the first update that we had that had the actual date. So it was like the first like real-time update, if that makes sense. So this is the same species of vulture that was featured in the Levitate music video. His name is Clifford. Say hello to Clifford. He was wonderful. And I believe, I don't know if him specifically was on the cover of Trench, but there was a vulture on the cover of Trench, also named Clifford. So he's fun. So where's, oh yeah, by the way, this page is, oh, it's gonna do it again. That page is no longer live. You cannot access it anymore. You can access it through our archive wiki, but you can't get to it anymore. They took it down. So yeah, so I think it's called a Cenarius vulture. That was uploaded to the site, and it was just an eyeball, and it was the same. Yeah, I already went over that. What's interesting though is that they used that eye to tease the return and the announcement of Jumpsuit and Trench and all that. That's kind of fun. All right, next letter. I gotta drink more water. Okay, so third letter. A lifeless light surrounds us each night. Never could I imagine that something so luminous could feel so dark. It's this glow that reminds us of the dreamless existence we've been sentenced to. But what I call a sentence, others accept as normalcy. How did they so efficiently eradicate the dreams within us? When the bishops instituted Vialism as mandate, they effectively reversed the hope that many arrived with. Am I the only one who realizes that we've been lied to? Am I the only one not afraid of the notion that the Nine have hijacked our trust and extinguished the hope that once motivated our existence? We used to close our eyes and picture a better life. Now the city is full of dry eyes caught in a trance of obedience, devoid of any trace of an identity. The only significant light that I've seen has been in the eyes of those smeared. Such a curious sight, to see bright eyes strangled by the darkness of bishop hands. As their penance fades, so dims their memory of something more. My hope of something more is all I have in this rigid tomb, and I will not let it die. Now, this was titled reverse, so basically just confirming that we had to reverse that audio, saying "We are Banditos," and at the same time, it was uploaded with this little strip of tape here, and had all these letters on it. You can't really see it, but the date on it was February 12th, 2017, which was the day that they won the Grammy, and then, you know, had that whole situation there. So that was February 12th, 2017. And then the yellow tape, if you overlay it with that letter, because as you can see, it's been like cut and rearranged, it says "We are Banditos" all the way down. And these 6 numbers that are also visible in the image are the letters of Trench, and the letters "end" are circled in yellow. So, right. Oops. All right, so July 5th, 2018, a couple days later. I don't remember what time of day this was. But we had this fun date. Current date, it was out, and it looked like a picture of a Tower of Silence. We weren't sure what this was at the time, but it was obviously Nico and the Niners. It was that opening shot. And this file name implies that this is Clancy's point of view. So finally looking back at Dema after he escaped the city, proud of him. You go, girl. All right, got another letter. Drink break. Okay, so they're asleep. The night took forever to arrive, and now we're almost ready. We've studied the Watchers and know that there's no chance that we can step through unnoticed, so instead of trying to hide ourselves, we'll make sure that all of us are noticed. It's been 1 year since the last convocation, and tomorrow's annual assemblage of the Glorified will be the biggest spectacle this concrete coffin of a city has seen all year. If we time it right, we'll divert the attention of the Watchers and finally take the step through. We've had no contact, but we're hoping the other side will be able to find a way in. We're not sure of the breach location, but we're willing to risk being smeared in order to find it. We know that we must go lower and wait for the torches. They've never seen anything like this, and by morning, everything will be different. I'm terrified and excited, all at the same time. They don't control us. All right. So, on this letter, 9 pairs of white squares point to 6 different letters vertically placed above or below the letter. So basically, this just shows how many lines to go down and count in, pretty much. So the letters that this is signaling to is "wake up." Next one. All right, July 6th. We woke up bright and early this day. I think it was like 6 a.m. or something. It was ridiculous. So, July 6th, we had the shot of the tunnels, and it was titled "They Can't See FCE 300." So FCE 300 is the hexadecimal code for a specific shade of yellow. The file name, along with the previous black journal, suggests that the bishops are unable to see this color. The day of this update marks the 1-year anniversary of the band's hiatus. We got another letter. Oh, this is the longest one. Okay. All right. You ready? Taking another sip. All right. I've made it out. I feel weightless. I know that place had always held me down, but for the first time, I can feel the beauty I had hoped for. It's been 3 nights now, and my breathing has changed. It's slower and more full. It's like the air out here is actually worth taking in. I can see it back in the distance, and I'd be lying if I said it wasn't constantly on my mind. I wish I could turn that fear off, but maybe the further I go, the less that fear will affect me. I feel betrayed by what I assumed was home. If I ever end up back there, I won't be able to look at it the same way. They are asleep. They are so sure that they know the truth and carry on throughout their day with the same meaningless tasks. They've forgotten to look up and to look outward to understand that this isn't about in there. This is about out here. This new world surrounds me. I used to think that the walls back home were massive. These green cliffs engulf me and place me right in the middle. Trench is quite precarious at times, and it's easy to grow weary. But it's real, and it's true. And I'd much rather endure reality than have to mindlessly be obedient to a life that someone else created for me. I've obsessed about this world for so long that it It feels more like home than anything I've ever experienced. Somehow, in this vast openness, I feel more protected than ever. The landscape feels endless, and I found myself walking for hours without any true evidence of getting further down. But I've seen plants and colors out here that I'm not sure I've even witnessed before. There's a beauty in the strangest places, and the curiosity of what's next continues to motivate me. I wonder who else is out here. If what I assumed inside is true, there's got to be more like me. Sometimes I'll feel a presence or think I see something in my periphery, only to look up and see nothing. It's just another thing that I'm afraid of that also excites me. It all just confirms all of the things that I've hoped to be true for all of this time. I am out here, and I am very alive. I'm sometimes scared, but always discovering something new. And I will not stop. Cover me. Now, that letter was written on the back of this picture. Now, the file name 2-1-2 is basically hinting at the new logo. It's going from single lines to double lines, and then the picture is inverted of Tyler laying in the river at the beginning of Jumpsuit. Bro looks like that. So that is basically all we have time for this week. I know that was a lot of information. And yeah, I don't want to overwhelm everybody too fast, or too much too fast. Just because if we kept going, it would have been a whole thing. So we're gonna pick back up with the release of Jumpsuit next week, same time. And yeah, oh man, it's 4:52. That did not feel like it went by that fast, or that long. Anyway, so yeah, and yeah, this is gonna be uploaded. I don't know if we're gonna be uploading the whatever it is. What's the word? Presentation. I don't know if we're gonna be uploading the presentation, like the individual slides by themselves, but the video will be uploaded, and I believe it's Discord Clique, the channel on YouTube. So I just saw that. But yeah, I hope that was good. Sorry for the technical difficulties at the beginning, and yeah, I love this era so much. I think it's one of the coolest ones. Like, oh, it's so good. It's so good. I might be biased because I joined the fandom during this era, but oh, it's so good. But yeah, all right, I'm gonna get going. Then yeah, woohoo! All right, have a good night, everybody.